You're smart. Like really smart. You aced calculus, crushed your SATs, maybe even got a degree. So why are you still broke? Because money isn't about math. It's about the messed up stories you tell yourself at 2 a.m. when you're scrolling through someone else's vacation photos. And stick around because today, we're cracking the blueprint that can take you from self-sabotage to self-made. You're watching M-Cubed Money Mindset Makeover. This isn't just a channel. It's a mindset revolution. Subscribe to elevate your money mindset. Elevate your life. Look, you've been lied to. They told you that if you just studied hard enough, worked hard enough, and saved hard enough, you'd be fine. But you're not fine. You're stressed, you're in debt, and your savings account is laughable. Here's the truth bomb. Financial success has almost nothing to do with being smart. It has everything to do with psychology, your relationship with money, your emotions around it, and the stories you inherited about what wealth even means. Today, we're diving into 5 mind-bending lessons from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. But we're not doing it like some stuffy finance bro in a suit. We're doing it raw, real, and relevant to your life right now. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you keep making the same money mistakes, why your brain is wired to self-destruct financially, and most importantly, how to rewire it. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Everything has a price, and most people aren't willing to pay it. Let's start with Ronald Read. This man was a janitor and a gas station attendant his whole life. Wore the same jacket for years. Drove beat-up cars, never flexed. And when he died in 2014, he left behind $8 million. $8 million? No lottery ticket, no inheritance, no crypto pump and dump. Just boring, consistent saving and letting compound interest do its thing for decades. Now compare that to the countless stories of high-earning professionals. Doctors making $500,000 a year, tech bros pulling in 6 figures, who are somehow still living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, one emergency away from financial collapse. What's the difference? It's not intelligence, it's behavior, it's psychology. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Getting rich in the stock market, building real wealth, living financially free, all of it comes with a price. And I'm not talking about the money you invest. I'm talking about the emotional cost. Volatility. That's the price. Imagine you're all in on a stock, let's say Netflix back in 2011. You believed in the future of streaming. You saw it coming. And then boom! Netflix loses a massive chunk of its customer base, and the stock plummets 80%. Your net worth just evaporated. Your partner is staring at you. Your parents think you're insane. Your friends are whispering behind your back. Every fiber of your being is screaming, "Sell, get out, you're an idiot." Could you hold? Could you sit through that nightmare and still believe? Most people can't, and that's why most people never see life-changing returns. But here's the real twist. Even if you're just buying boring index funds, you still pay this price. If you invested in the S&P 500 back in 1980, you'd still have endured about 13 years where your portfolio was down 20% or more. 8 months where it was down 50%. That's not a bug. That's the feature. The stock market isn't a slot machine. It's a toll booth. And the toll is watching your net worth drop and resisting every human instinct to panic sell. That's the fee for becoming wealthy. And most people? They see the toll, freak out, and turn the car around. You want high returns? You'd better be ready to pay the emotional price. Otherwise, stay in your savings account earning 0.5% while inflation eats you alive. Your choice. Lesson 2. The comparison game will destroy you. Capitalism is incredible at 2 things: creating wealth and creating envy. Let me paint you a picture. There's a doctor, let's call him Bill. Bill makes $500,000 a year. He's in the top 1% of income earners in America. He drives a nice car, takes vacations to Bali, lives in a beautiful house. By every objective measure, Bill is rich. But then Bill buys a vacation home in the Hamptons. And guess who his neighbor is? Stan. Stan's a CEO making $10 million a year. Suddenly, Bill doesn't feel so rich anymore. He's looking at Stan's yacht, Stan's cars, Stan's everything, and Bill feels small. But wait, it gets worse. Stan grew up with Michael Jordan. Yeah, that Michael Jordan. The guy worth $2 billion. And now Stan, despite his $10 million salary, feels like a broke joke compared to MJ. And Michael? He goes to parties with Jeff Bezos. Bezos made 75 billion in 2020 alone. He's worth over 200 billion. There's always a bigger fish, always. And here's the trap for you. Right now, scrolling Instagram, seeing your high school classmate in Dubai, your cousin buying a Tesla, that influencer flexing a Rolex. You're stuck in this toxic comparison loop, and it's making you do stupid, reckless things with money. Some people leverage themselves into oblivion trying to keep up. Some commit fraud. Some destroy their marriages, their mental health, their entire lives, all because they couldn't accept that enough is enough. Listen to me. You will never win the comparison game. Never. Because the goalposts will always move. There will always be someone richer, someone with more followers, someone with a bigger house. The only way to win is to stop playing. Define what enough means for you, and then protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your peace of mind, your relationships, your sanity, all of it hinges on you drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is enough. Have you or someone you know ever felt trapped in the comparison game? Drop your story in the comments. Your honesty might help someone else break free from the cycle. Lesson 3. What looks crazy to you makes perfect sense to them. Let's talk about lottery tickets. The lowest income households in America spend over $400 a year on lottery tickets. That's 4 times more than the wealthiest households. And here's the kicker. More than a third of Americans can't even come up with $400 for an emergency. So are they literally gambling away their emergency fund? At first glance, yeah, it looks insane. It looks stupid. It looks like financial suicide. But here's the thing. You're not them. You don't live paycheck to paycheck with zero room to save. You're not working 2 jobs just to barely keep the lights on. You're not staring at a future with no upward mobility, no career ladder, no college fund for your kids. For them, buying a lottery ticket isn't irrational. Instead, it's hope. It's the only shot they have at the life you're already living. They're not buying a piece of paper. They're buying a dream. And when you have nothing, a dream is priceless. Now hold on, because this part matters. Understanding this doesn't just make you more empathetic. It makes you a better investor. When you realize that everyone has different goals, different risk tolerances, different life experiences, you stop blindly copying other people's strategies. You stop chasing GameStop because Reddit said so. You stop trying to invest like a billionaire when you're still trying to get rich in the first place. A billionaire's goal is to stay rich. Your goal? Get rich. Those require completely different strategies. Copying Warren Buffett when you're 28 and broke is like copying LeBron's workout routine when you've never touched a basketball. Different perspectives, different goals, different playbooks. Stop trying to play someone else's game and play yours. Lesson 4. You can't predict the crash, so stop trying. Pop quiz. What do the Great Depression, World War II, the 2008 financial crisis, and COVID-19 all have in common? Answer: nobody saw them coming. And if they did, they're lying. These are what Nassim Taleb calls black swans, events that are complete outliers. Nothing before them suggests they're possible. Massively impactful, explainable only after the fact. Hindsight makes us feel like we should have known. Here's a wild stat. If you invested in the S&P 500 20 years ago but missed the 4 best performing days in the market, your return would be 164% instead of 291%. Missing just 4 days cut your gains nearly in half. And here's the problem. Those 4 best days, they usually happen right after the worst crashes. When everyone is panicking. When the news is screaming that the world is ending. When your gut is telling you to sell everything and hide under your bed. The people who win aren't the ones who predict the crash. They're the ones who survive it. Stop listening to the macro projections. Stop trying to time the market. Stop thinking you're Nostradamus. The things that will actually tank the market are the things nobody's talking about right now. Your job isn't to predict disasters. Your job is to prepare for them, mentally and financially. Build your emergency fund. Diversify. Don't panic sell. And for the love of everything, stop checking your portfolio every 5 minutes. Because the next black swan, it's coming. You just don't know when, and neither does anyone else. Lesson 5. Pessimism sells. Don't buy it. If I told you right now that the market's going to crash, that inflation's spiraling out of control, that the economy's on the brink of collapse, you'd be hooked. You'd lean in. You'd want to hear more. But if I told you that life expectancy is rising, that renewable energy is getting cheaper, that global poverty is declining, you'd shrug. You'd scroll past. You'd call me naive. Why? Because your brain is wired to pay attention to threats. It's evolution. Pessimism sounds smart. Optimism sounds stupid. Daniel Kahneman, the godfather of behavioral economics, says it best. Losses loom larger than gains. Our ancestors survived because they treated threats as more urgent than opportunities. That same wiring is sabotaging your financial future today. Pessimism also makes for better stories. Progress happens slowly, over decades. But crashes happen overnight. It's easier to write a dramatic, fear-mongering headline about a collapse than a boring, hopeful story about slow, steady growth. But here's the truth. The world is getting better. Not perfect, not without problems, but better. And if you let the pessimists control your investment decisions, you'll sit on the sidelines forever, terrified to invest, convinced the sky is falling, while the optimists quietly build generational wealth. Be skeptical, be smart, but don't let fear paralyze you. Let's get real for a second. You're tired, you're burnt out. You're watching people younger than you buy houses while you're drowning in student loans. You're working side hustles just to make rent. You're one unexpected car repair away from a meltdown. And then you go online, and everyone's screaming different advice at you. Invest in crypto! Buy real estate! Start a business! Just save more! But nobody's talking about the real problem. Your relationship with money is broken. And it's not your fault. You were raised in a system that told you to get good grades, get a degree, get a job, and you'd be fine. But that system is dead. It died somewhere between 2008 and 2020, and nobody sent you the memo. You're not lazy, you're exhausted. And the system profits off your burnout. But here's the good news. You can rewrite the script, not by working harder, by thinking differently, by understanding that money isn't math, it's psychology. And once you master the psychology, the math takes care of itself. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Wealth isn't built by being the smartest person in the room. It's built by being the most consistent, the most patient, and the most emotionally disciplined. Ronald Read, the $8 million janitor, wasn't smarter than you. He just understood something most people never figure out. Behavior beats intelligence. Every single time. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to day trade. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to pay the price of volatility without panicking. Stop comparing yourself to people playing a different game. Understand your own goals and build your own strategy. Prepare for disasters instead of trying to predict them. Ignore the pessimists and stay the course. This is where broke ends and ownership begins. So let's recap. 1. Everything has a price. Volatility is the toll for wealth. Pay it or stay broke. 2. The comparison game is unwinnable. Define enough and protect it fiercely. 3. What looks crazy to you makes sense to someone else. Play your game, not theirs. 4. You can't predict the crash. Prepare, don't predict. 5. Pessimism sells. Don't buy it. Money isn't math. It's psychology. And once you understand the psychology, you're unstoppable. Up next, we're breaking down 48 money hacks to slash your monthly budget. And trust me, you don't want to miss this one. See you there, M-Cubed family.